Alright, hello. Sorry for not continuing the streak of videos. I was a bit busy the past 2 days, so I had to take a break, but we're back, and we are gonna take a look today at Limbo and Koumei and what weapons you could potentially use for them. And I will start with Limbo. This guy used to be my old main before Wisp came out. Back then he was also way more useful than he is now, to be honest, but he can still hold up quite well if used properly, so I still think he's absolutely in a fine state, but I think he would desperately need some visual rework to make people understand him a bit more and utilize his rift better, or make his rift easier to understand at least, something like that, because in terms of power, he's not that bad. He's pretty good still. So, to begin with, Limbo, he has one of the most OP augments in the game with Rift Torrent, which allows him to gain a significant damage bonus similar to Chroma's Vex Armor. Chroma's Vex Armor and this ability can give equally as much damage, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, this damage is additive, and Eclipse's damage is multiplicative, so these two work together, first of all. But there is something more important going on in the background. Because that damage is additive, any weapon with Multico gets absolute insane damage from, from that augment. As long as the status effect is on the enemy, of course. But the weapons that I found out that work the best, they are melee weapons that have Multico innately, or melee weapons that have a lot of range. And thankfully, there are two weapons that match both of these credentials that I have chosen, and those are the Corufell and the Coda Pathocyst. Now, the Coda Pathocyst is not Multico, but base damage or additive damage works multiplicatively on the explosion of glaives. Now, I don't think that's a bug. That's been in the game for way too long for it to just be a bug, so I think we're just fine here and playing by the rules, and those will be my two weapon of choices. Corufell, I could have picked Siam, I could have picked like any other long-range weapon with a long-range attack that is Multico, and that would have worked fine. But I think the Corufell is really cool, has a wide range attack, and this is a build for Gyre, so we're not gonna use this. We're instead gonna use exposure, because I think I would like the extra damage. And yeah, in general, as you saw the Limbo build itself, we have Ready Steal, because we are gonna do heavy attack with these weapons mostly. We have Circumvent to steal the overguard from enemies if we need to do that in order to survive. And then obviously, Fast Deflection, Vigilante Vigor, Rolling Guard. These three mods are pretty much all you need for Limbo to survive. And I think Circumvent and its utility is really nice to have, especially working with Limbo's passive directly and making you basically roll through enemies for free and steal their overguard without ever taking damage back. So I really like this arcane on Limbo in general, and these three mods they just feel like a must-have on Limbo because they synergize really well with them. The rest is just some range for utility. I don't like too much range because it makes Rift Surge a bit confusing to play around, and then just as much strength as possible through a single mode of blind range, and Equilibrium Prime Flow for some energy economy. And for the actual way that we're gonna use Equilibrium, we could use this guy, we could use this guy, we could even use this guy. Like, it doesn't really matter, but I will go ahead and use my Panzerwupperpfeiler, so we get some type of, some type of viral priming onto the enemies, so that Multico does work on the Corufell even at one stack, and it does some wonders. So yeah, that's my idea, and let's go ahead and check it out. Obviously, the build for Limbo is pretty standard. There are other builds you can do, some utility supportive builds with Silence, for example. I really like running that a lot, but in general, Limbo, I think damage-wise, we'll see some really decent damage here. I don't think damage will ever be a problem, and people might actually try Limbo because of the augment. But one thing that I will say, for sure, is that you saw the yellow stars, right? You need casting speed. Like, this guy without casting speed, basically unplayable. And also you need to abuse the corners, so we're standing behind this corner so we don't get shot. 1, 3, go to the rift, 3, and now we can play. And yeah, we can always like stun them, and stunning them allows us to see more easily who is the one that is in the rift and who is not. But yeah, in general, 1-3, 1-3, most of the people should be in the rift at pretty much all times, and this is what I mean with the visuals, right? So these people look like they should be in the Rift. They're in fact not in the Rift. We have Rift Torrent from them, which makes us... It gives us 1800% damage, by the way, the Rift Torrent augment. We have a ton of damage from it. So yeah, our Corufell is hitting whenever we can see it, obviously. But... yeah, in general... there is quite a bit of things that we would need to make to Limbo himself so he can feel much better to play at. 100 million damage, by the way. So, very, very good on that. So damage is not really a problem. The issue is basically that I would love for his abilities to feel better and work better together, because his 1 and 3 is nice as a combo. And as you can see, 3400% damage now. Like, we're getting a ton of damage from this. And we are dealing a ton of damage from this. And obviously, Eclipse or Wrathful Dance, you know, whatever you want, it doesn't really matter at this point. You get some crazy, crazy damages from this thing. And you're kind of immortal too, because most of the enemies that you're gonna be attacking or that are able to attack you will just be frozen. The issue obviously happens when you don't know which enemy is frozen and which enemy is real, which is the main issue people have with Limbo, and I completely understand that. I think one thing you can do is to play with the 4th ability normally, and that will help you a lot. But yeah, it's definitely a weird character, needs a bit of getting used to in order to do stuff, but he's very rewarding in my opinion. Like, you can get some insane damages from this guy. Also should have picked Arcane Strike low-key, but it's fine. The damage is the main thing that we care about here, and it's the damage is damaging, you know. Oh shit. Yeah. It is pretty good, honestly. The combination of Rift Torrent and the 3000% damage from it, plus whatever, you know, multi-core weapon you do, whatever multi-core melee weapon you do, it goes a bit hard, for sure. Like, you can see some really, really crazy numbers, and with Wrathful Advance and something like the Tenet Grigori, for example, this is like the freest damage cap you will ever see, and in general, there is just a lot of good weapons you can do with this. The main issue obviously arrives with the fact that you have to play Limbo, understand Limbo, and see what you have to do. And obviously the current visuals that you see don't really help, because it's really hard to understand who is in the Rift or not, especially when you don't have your second ability active. If we had some kind of visual that was making this a lot easier for us to see who's in the Rift, because yeah, there is a small aura around them, as you can see from the second ability, or even the first ability. There is obviously some small aura around them. But in the grand scheme of things, and with how many visuals, like how much visual clutter there is in combat while you're playing this game, having just like that tiny visual around enemies that are in the Rift, it doesn't do much for Limbo himself. Like, the Limbo player, it's really hard to get used to that type of visual, and it takes so long to start understanding, like, you know, am I in the Rift becomes a bit easier. It can be kind of hard if you have a really bad energy color. But about enemies, like, enemies being in the Rift or not being in the Rift is really, really hard to discern right now. And I think some kind of visual clarity on that would help Limbo a ton. Like, you don't even need to rework this guy completely. Some better visuals would help him a lot. And maybe some number adjustments when it comes to, like, the 4th ability or something. Like, this guy doesn't need much, seriously. He's really, really fine in terms of power level. Like, 3000% damage is nothing to scold over, you know? 3000% damage is pretty fucking good. The main issue arises when you don't know how to use this 3000% damage, because you don't know which enemy is in the Rift or how you can put more enemies into the Rift. Like, that is the main issue that this guy has right now. And obviously, you could maybe rework or adjust the numbers here or something to make these abilities more consistent. Like, Rift Surge being more consistent as an ability would help a lot, but we can't have everything, and hopefully Limbo will get some touch-ups to make him feel better to play, because even if his power is fine, currently he feels a bit more confusing to play than displaying a really simple Warframe like Wisp, Rhino, Revenant, Savagoth, where you can just you press your buttons and things happen and you know exactly what's happening and things are dying, and then you can shoot your guns and you don't have to micromanage who's in the rift, who's not in the rift and all that, and it becomes a lot easier. So yeah, Limbo rant inside. Let's go to the Pathocyst. This thing, I'm waiting for it to get some Riven disposition changes because look at this. Like, my goodness. Fleet, this would go so hard right now if it gave me 20 initial combo instead of 18.8. I could in theory use it, you know, like it can happen here in theory if I did like here I did corrosive instead, maybe. Like we can try it because we're on Limbo, and Limbo can provide me with some base damage. But yeah, in general, like the ready still mode will help. Initial combo is fire, and I just hope at some point I can get plus 20 here. Like that's all I need. Like if we buff this dispo to be plus 20, I'm cooking here. But yeah, this weapon absolutely goated. The highest damaging glaive in the game out of all the glaives when it comes to the explosion damage, which is exactly what we care about on Limbo. Like the explosion damage and how much you can do, that's basically all we care about. And I'm personally using a melee duplicate build because when you explode this, it's barely above 100% crit chance, which makes it a perfect candidate for duplicate. Same build, nothing changes, and let's go. In general, I would say like there are still some uses for Limbo, but there are so many other options now that can do the things he does that I just wish he did kind of more, you know, or it was at least easier for him to do more. This is also, by the way, why I didn't have Wrathful Advance in the build, in case people were wondering. Like, you know, I will see a lot of comments saying like, dude, why wouldn't you use Wrathful Advance if you're using melee? Well, this build is why. Like, I need the duplicate stacks. Oh my god. 173 million instantly. Look at that. Anyways, I'm not on the same tile set, so this kind of sucks, but we're good, we're good. 500 million? I need to go to a different room. Oh my god, the damage. It's 500 million damage with duplicate, so it's literally 1 trillion damage, by the way. This is so nuts. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh my god, please. What is it hit? What is my glaive hitting? Oh my god, is it hitting the things that... Wait, I can't... Guys, there is a game-breaking bug happening right now. I can't roll. Okay, there we go. What the fuck? What was that? I couldn't roll. Alright, bet. Amazing. Everybody go into the stasis. Give me that 900% damage. Yummy. What the hell? That has never happened to me. I couldn't roll out of my passive. Anyways. Before, with a better tile set and with better grouping, we had around 3000% damage. Now we have 800% and we're still like absolutely chilling. There we go, 1200%. 1.9 billion, I think I saw. Yeah. I kind of want to reach a damage cap. Like, I think I can. Especially if I group them better, but... Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Ah, I see. Okay, so when I throw the glaive, it explodes on my face because I have things on me, and then I can't dash. That's interesting. Somebody add it to the bug list. Please, so I can play. 3400%? Okay. Yeah, like you see the Reef Surge bonus on top, and you get some neuron activation. Although that that glaive explosion thing is kind of annoying, I can't lie. That glaive explosion thing is kind of annoying. I swear this didn't always happen, by the way. Why does that happen? This basically never happened. Okay, see, now it's not bruh. Anyways, I was saying, now that's not happening. Yeah, see, now it's not happening. What the fuck? I am so confused. Somebody, please take a look at this guy, because, yeah. We need to fix some things. Oh my god. 1.997 trillion. Come on, I'm so close. I am legit so close. Anyways, let's one-tap Malice real quick. Oh, I didn't even throw the glaive at her. I just meleeed her by accident. And that still worked. Holy shit. Yeah, but you understand, right? And especially there is like another mechanic that if people were not aware in your position and they're in the rift, like you see how there are some fully yellow marks on the minimap and then there are some that are not fully yellow. The ones that are not fully yellow, they take the stealth damage multiplier. So that's pretty cool. Ah shit, I didn't explode it. Oh, there we go. We got the damage cap. Hey, we got the damage cap. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to show. I didn't have Eclipse either, by the way, for that damage cap. So, yeah. Not bad. Not bad. 45, 100% damage. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Limbo can really do a lot of damage. You know, like, Limbo's damage is pretty nuts. It's just the fact that he needs a lot of setup and ability setup to do his damage that is kind of annoying, and also the fact that in order for him to do that damage and to get that setup, he needs to work with an ability that is kind of hit or miss, sort of. Like Rift Surge is a weird ability. I don't personally like it. When I played Limbo, I was mainly focusing around Cataclysm and stuff, so my main build has Cataclysm and Silence, but like Rift Surge is a bit weird and you need a lot of swam to make it really good. It's worth it at the end because I mean the damage is fucking nuts from Rift Torrent, but like, yeah, you do understand that there are some issues with this frame, and you saw right there like the bug where the pickups were basically blocking my glaive shots, and then I had another bug after the glaive shot was getting blocked where I couldn't really shift and get out of my rift to get the pickups so I don't throw the glaive on myself again and just repeat the process over and over. Like, there are some really annoying stuff about this guy, and I hope he does get a touch-up soon, because I'm sure like most of these issues would get fixed immediately if he got a touch-up, and I really want to see that. But yeah, let's go to the other Warframe for today, and it's gonna be the one, the only, the one frame that when she came out, she became my second most used Warframe that year, and she came out in October of that year. I think she came out October 2024. When she came out, it was October, right? And obviously, I do primarily play Wisp, but I also like playing Mirage a lot. I also like playing Garuda a lot, but yada. When she came out, she took over, and she was my second most played Warframe with 25% usage in the year she came out, and she came out in October. I played so much Koumei after she came out, and I enjoyed this Warframe so much that I literally only played her for the rest of the year. It's insane how much I like this frame. And in general, this frame has a mechanic I love a lot and I do associate myself with. Gambling. I love gambling. So yeah, Omikuji, her passive, her whole gimmick with the dice, probability, like pseudo probability, whatever you call it, yada. All of these things are right up my alley, and immediately I started understanding this character and how her pseudo probability worked, and that helped me quite a bit in terms of actually playing her as a gun buffer and make her really strong. Now, also, I know someone will say it, I know Archon Flow doesn't work, but I swear to God I've seen it work somehow, so I'm keeping it here. It doesn't matter, like, well, I'm gonna use Prime Flow and, well, guys, I start with 5 more energy. That's crazy. guys, I start with 5 more energy. That's absolutely insane. Anyways, with that out of the way, the 2 weapons that I've easily chosen for Koumei are Zarr and the Ocucor. Yes. Now, I know a lot of people would probably think I would do Ocucor on side 09, and I don't blame you for that. But I do think that pretty much 70 to 80% of the decrease you can take, work on this thing perfectly. Like, it's broken with any decrease you can take. It's broken with Koumei's passive. It allows you to refresh Omikuji's fortune and get your cooldowns back extremely quickly, because when you have your passive working on this weapon, it becomes an absolute menace with all the status effects. And then you just combine it with any other weapons that can kill very easily, and you're good to go. Like, you're good to go. The Zarr, well, you guys have heard of rumors of 2021 Zarr? Yeah, Koumei can get you back to the 2021 Zarr era. That's basically what she does. This weapon on Koumei with good decrease, absolutely goated. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do a 10-minute survival mission. And whatever decrease we get, we just skip and we showcase both of these weapons with those. Obviously, you know, not scripted, not anything. One try and go. Whatever happens, happens. If I don't get good decrease, so be it. I don't really care. But I just want to show you how quickly we get everything. Also, if you play Koumei, you see the dice now don't have anything on the bottom right? Swap to your operator. Now you have a starting roll, so you know what might come next. So we can bet that the next roll will not be a 666 or even above 20. So I'm just gonna cast my 3 instead of my 2. And there we go. The power of pseudo probability. Anyways, enemies with headshots. Well, I'm gonna reject that actually, because I can't really do it. But kill enemies from far away, that's very easy with the Zarr. There we go. And we have another one. Kill enemies while airborne, simply jump and aim glide and shoot while aim gliding with your weapon of choice. So the biggest issue with Zarr, as you can see, is basically the reload. The damage is still pretty fine. Alright, Ocucor time. Enemies inflicted with cold. We have our passive on it, so there is a high chance that we will roll cold anyways, even though the weapon doesn't have cold on its own. And as you can see, already 10 enemies, solve 13. You know, just keep shooting with the Ocucor with its passive up and you're good to go. If you don't have the passive up on the Ocucor, you can simply, you know, start spamming 4 until you get cold procs. But obviously, because of Ocucor and how many times it shoots and all of its status spread, because of a beam weapon, you know, you get some crazy stuff. Headshots again, reject because I can get it back faster because I have Ocucor. But yeah, basically, like, it is absolutely wild. So yeah, we have another decree that works pretty well on the Ocucor. Base damage is always nice to have. Right, Dark Suit. Obviously, the thing I got works on Dark Sword as well. Kill enemies within 10 meters. Oh, that's great. If only I had a Dark Sword that I had to, like... Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Koumei is a really fun frame because, obviously, since you have the decrease system and all that, and they're random, every run feels like I'm playing Risk of Rain or The Binding of Isaac. Like, I'm playing a completely different game than Warframe. I'm playing a roguelike, you know? And it's like, when I play this frame, oh shit, critical hits inflict cold. Okay, well that's cold status. If we get the cold status thing again, we have no issues proccing it now. But yeah, every time you play a run, you get some completely different runs. And right now, for example, I don't have any good decrees for Zarr. I already have at least 3 good decrees for Ocucor. Like Ocucor, I know with side is really good, but with this frame, it's absolutely disgusting. Alright, now we got one for Dark Sword, so it's alright. We'll take that. We're 2 minutes in, we already have quite a bit of power. Not gonna lie. A lot of people are saying, oh, this frame needs like an hour to get good. Yeah, bro. I'm 2 minutes in. I'm 2 minutes in. Kill enemies with Toxin. Well, if only I had my passive onto the Ocucor, and I also have a Dark Sword, so I can cover Toxin that way if I need to. I'm gonna do a 4 here and then press my 3 and get a 666 because pseudo probability of that. Love that. I love gambling. Do not let me near a casino, you will lose all your money. And mine. Critical melee hits, well, that doesn't help at all, sadly, because my Dark Sword doesn't crit, but yeah, we'll take it. It's a decree, we'll take it. Alright, swap to Zarr. In general, it's just playing Koumei is just having a lot of fun mini games that you just play around, basically. Really funny, really funny. Also, I know I didn't show the builds. I'll show them at the end. I'm sorry. I was just too excited to go play Koumei again. I can't lie. Alright. Oh, kill enemies with headshot. Rejected. The only bad thing about the setup that I'm running now with this Zarr and Ocucor is exactly that. You can't headshot. But that's fine. If I was against Corpus Moas, I can easily use the Ocucor and that will headshot them because their headshot is at their body and the Ocucor kinda auto-tracks the body. Like, it doesn't auto-aim headshots, but it auto-tracks the body, so that's pretty good. In theory, I can probably one-shot the Acolyte, whoever she is. Electricity status. Alright. For electricity status, I'm just gonna do that. Just start pressing 4 over and over. Eventually I'll get it, but... yeah. When you don't have anything that gives you electricity damage, you kind of have to do that. The moment you get the magazine capacity decree though, you're fine with this as well. Pretty much. There we go. Damage reduction. Swap to Dark Sword because it's on our passive. Do like a quadrillion damage because it's Dark Sword. Alright, Ocucor. And now with Ocucor, we just get our cooldown down super quickly. Like, it just goes down so quickly. Kill with heat. My Ocucor is built for viral heat, so this is free. Yeah. And we get a useless decree. Like, this one's completely useless. I don't do anything with it, but hey, it doesn't really matter. I've already got some really decent decrees. If I get the one with the magazine capacity, it's basically the best one. Like, the best ones are the one with the magazine capacity, the one that auto-reloads your weapon, because Ocucor, even though it does auto-reload, it doesn't take from... it takes from the maximum ammo, like the reserve ammo that you have. The decree doesn't. The decree just reloads your weapon automatically. Also, obviously, like, kill enemies while airborne. You can just do this. Thankfully, you have an Ocucor, right? So, you can just do this. Well, just do that. That's it. 3 more minutes to get as many decrees as I can and see what else I can do with this. And we got Stormcaller. Well, it's over. Now, my Zarr has 17 bullets in the mag. Yeah. And there is another decree that allows you to fully reload your weapon by just rolling. In case you don't get the one that gives you back all your bullets on your weapon by, you know, killing enemies, you can just roll and bypass the Zarr's extremely lengthy reload like that. So that's also extremely cool. Kill enemies within 10 meters. I'm gonna use the Dark Sword. But yeah, like, you can see, as long as you have a plan on this frame, it can become extremely good. And obviously, the 2 weapons that I have right now, you know, Ocucor and Zarr, are pretty much the 2 best in slot, in my opinion. Like, yeah, you can get some better ones. I will say that, like, you can have Tenet Links, and for some frames or some situations, Tenet Links will be better. But, you know, obviously, it doesn't really matter. You can pretty much play anything you want on Koumei and it works because of the decrees. There are just some weapons that work better than others because, yeah. Like the Zarr has it needs the extra magazine, it needs the auto reload, and also because it's fully automatic, when you have the fire rate decree, you can just hold it down left click, and then suddenly you get just so much fire rate and infinite ammo. It becomes ridiculous. It gets so crazy. It just gets so crazy. I love it. Kill enemies with headshots. Reject. I have got that decree so many times, by the way. Rejected it, and I still have a lot of decrees already. Like within 10 minutes I'm already this strong, which is pretty nuts to think about. I got a golden stormcaller, which is pretty much perfect, but like I also have got already, I think 3 or 4 just really bad decrees, and it doesn't really matter. Like look, I have 180 ammo on my Ocucor, by the way. The biggest issue with this weapon is if you ever run out of ammo and have to reload like later on missions, or you lack some damage, Koumei fixes both of these things and also adds her passive on top of that, which her passive is absolutely overpowered on this weapon. And we got Rising Agony, which again, not very useful. It doesn't matter. 10 minutes reached. I'm gonna check what the next decree would be just out of curiosity, and if it's not a good one I will just extract, but I think this kind of does prove the point that, you know, you get decrees super quickly when you have Ocucor on Koumei, and you also can make the Ocucor itself just so much more powerful than any other frame by just playing Koumei, and because of the things she can do. Because like, yeah, there is side ammo. Side ammo is absolutely amazing, and you can upkeep evade if you play correctly, and you can do a lot of other things. But like, bro, this is low-key way more broken. Having just infinite ammo on the Ocucor permanently, a lot of extra fire rate through irresistible bombardment, 300% fire rate, by the way. Okay, I got something useless again. So we're going. Having the ability to buff all of your other weapons through the decree system and getting your decrees as fast as possible using the Ocucor and a good primary weapon and then a good melee weapon. Like, it's just a match made in heaven, really. And I think there is just nothing better than that. Now, I kind of want to see if I can find something to show you for the Kuva Zarr, maybe. No promises, but I will try. So give me a second here. Alright, I actually have something that I found so I can show you. So, a friend of mine once went into a 3-hour mission for Koumei, and he did have a Kuva Zarr. So here I can actually show you what the Kuva Zarr looks like with maximum decrees.
The trees here are in misery, and the birds are in misery. I don't think they sing, they just screech in pain.
It's pretty decent. It's pretty alright, you know. Yeah. So, although the Ocucor does get a lot stronger way earlier, I just can't ignore at what a absolute menace this weapon becomes on Koumei when it's maxed out. Like, obviously any AoE weapon becomes a menace, but the Zarr it's just something else when it comes to Koumei. So yeah, builds for these two weapons I forgot to show, I'm very sorry. But here we go. This Zarr Acricorn mode would replace, I don't know, something like, what would you even put there? You could put Vigilante Armaments. I'm going Pure Blast on it. Interesting. Oh yeah. Okay. So you could easily do Viral Heat here then. That should be fine still, but I have Pure Blast on my Zarr. Okay. Cool. That's very cool actually. I didn't actually expect that. So Pure Blast works on this weapon. Or maybe it's Koumei, but I think it's just Pure Blast that works. The Ocucor itself, minus 77% ammo max. Okay. So here's the thing. So I did have my Riven, right? But there is an issue. Oh, I have Trick Mag to counteract the Riven. That makes more sense. Yeah. The Riven kind of sucks, so I have to use this or Ruinous Extension. But obviously, yeah. This does work, and it does get me onto Orange Crit territory, especially if I use Orange Archon Swords, which means I don't actually need to use Secondary Enervate. It's pretty good. But yeah, that's kind of the idea behind Koumei and these weapons. Just something to get your decrees as fast as possible, or something to benefit from decrees as quickly as possible. And obviously there are other weapons that benefits from decrease a lot on the secondary or primary slot. Like for example, the Tenet Planks is an amazing weapon for this girl, but I will still say that Ocucor and Zarr are basically the two best in slot, like easily. This video has taken way too long. I had to talk extensively about the two Warframes that I'm playing because they're way less popular and a lot of people hate them. So I don't really mind just showcasing ways that you can make them a bit more fun at least. Thank you very much for watching another video of mine, and I will see you on the next one.